Dave Cook here from NowGamer. We're here at the Microsoft Christmas Showcase. I've got David Braben here, creator of Disneyland Adventures and Kinectimals. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you, and welcome.
Great, thanks. So you guys made Kinectimals. Obviously that was a massive game aimed at kids and parents and just anyone who likes motion control. What did you learn from the feedback of Kinectimals and the reception it received, and how have you applied it to Disneyland Adventures?
Well, I think what Kinectimals did is it introduced Kinect to people and brought a lot of people to see the sort of things that you could do on the technology. And so if you like, Disneyland is an evolution of that, so we're taking it to the next stage. Kinect Disneyland Adventures is the first open world experience on Kinect, where you can navigate around the whole of Disneyland, all 86 acres, meet all the various famous Disney characters, over 40 of them, speak to them, hug them, have your picture taken with them. You know, it's amazing, it's great fun.
That's awesome. It sounds like the dream of kids everywhere, you know, who
I do hope so.
Yeah, excellent. Also, you mentioned earlier in your presentation on the game that you're looking to revolutionise or definitely shake up the way that people navigate in motion control, you know, actually move around their character. How have you looked to do that in this game?
Well, one of the issues with any sort of control, whether controller, is it takes a while for people to build up a vocabulary of how it's used. You know, when the first analog controllers came out on, say, Nintendo 64, it was a good few years before the actual vocabulary, which button did what, how do you move, you know, all this, whether one of the buttons does strafe, all that sort of thing. That's just for first-person shooters. You know, we're still in that early learning phase with Kinect. So the great thing is, each game we do, you know, new things are introduced and new mechanics become sort of more established.
And in terms of, you mentioned the sort of the relationship between controls and which buttons do what, basically. Do you feel then that the motion control is the most intuitive way of doing it? You know, it's natural, isn't it?
I think it's a lot more intuitive, but there's still the question of how do you communicate movement and things like that. How do you select, you know, all of these things. It's gradually building vocabulary. And I think that the newness of it's very exciting.
That's great, and obviously you guys are quite well versed in Kinect and how it works. So how far into development of Kinect were you guys like privy to the technology? How far in advance to before launch did you get a chance to play around with it?
I think we got it quite early. I don't remember the exact date, but it was long before it had been talked about.
That's great, and being there at the start, I mean, how far have we scratched the surface of what the tech is capable of, and how do you see it evolving going forward?
I think we've barely scratched the surface, really. I mean, I think there are a lot of things that I personally haven't seen explored, both in Kinect and in Kinect in conjunction with controllers. I want to see a shooter where you can just do that.
Yeah.
But still be using the controller. It's exactly the same, so it's completely additive.
I guess
more and more use of voice control as well is something that we've not seen too much of.
That's cool, and I guess on that note, that sort of brings together the whole idea of hybrid games, you know, controllers and Kinect in perfect sync. What sort of challenges do you think developers will have in marrying the technology? Because we're seeing a lot of people trying it now.
I think with anything new, we see various attempts. One succeeds over the others, and that becomes the de facto standard, if you like, of the best way to approach it. And I think we've not really seen that yet.
Cool, and we've also seen Kinect Fun Labs come out. You guys have a remit in your project. You know exactly what you want to do, but Fun Labs opens it up to everyone to do whatever they want, really. Has anything there caught your eye yet, particularly?
I think it's a lovely idea. I like the fact that it can grab your avatar from you. You know, there are so many lovely things there, and I'm sure there are a lot more lovely things to come. So I do like this. I think the spirit of it is fantastic.
That's good. And how open is that service? Would you, as a developer, could you potentially see a bit of tech that you like that some independent person has made and say, hey, we'll buy that or we'll hire you as a talent pool? Do you think it has a future?
That's an interesting idea. I suppose I hadn't thought of it like that. But yeah, I suppose so. I suppose the whole industry works a little bit like that. You know, we say, hey, that's really good. How do you do that? Or come and see this. Or we've got this great thing. And you know, there is a lot of openness. I mean, I think one of the things with our wider industry, you know, we've talked to other developers working on Kinect. They've talked to us. Is we are pretty open.
That's great, and just in terms of motion control as a standard going forward, obviously this is going to bring a new demographic to the Xbox format. Just thinking ahead to the next console cycle, do you think Microsoft are going to instead, you know, they're going to have lots of new people ready for the next console to launch?
Well, I do hope so. I mean, it's the whole breadth of the appeal that I think is what's really important. You know, that nothing's gone away. This is, you know, Kinect is a really additive technology from what's sort of already there and already very, very well established. But I think the important thing, we saw it with Wii as well, is to get a broader audience. You know, there are a load of people out there who are quite sceptical and occasionally scathing about games. And it's really great to see them starting to warm up to the technology, whether it's just, oh, I might watch a movie with it and say, you know, Xbox Play Movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But that, you know, gradually they think, oh, maybe there is something behind this. I mean, I've seen it with people, you know, they gradually get drawn in. My mum, for example, you know, came in via things like having a DS, you know, and through building, you know, and now she would call herself a gamer.
That's brilliant. And I know you mentioned Wii, and obviously you're developing for Kinect. Wii U, what's your opinion on it?
Very interesting machine.
Yeah.
I haven't got to grips with what it adds, but it sounds very exciting.
That's great. Well, David Braben, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.